I know you will, Rebekka, and it is incredible. More than 70 years of marriage, at 96 years old, is a great age to enjoy life until. And what an incredible legacy Mrs. Carter has left behind. Her contributions in so many realms, from mental health to fighting guinea worm, and women's rights and beyond. I just want to ask you, Rebekka, because you have spent so many years covering the Carter family here in Georgia. I know we don't normally kind of delve into this as journalists. We try to be impartial, but you must probably be feeling this today, feeling a lot of emotion yourself today.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, Joy, I grew up from the time I was born until I was 8 years old in Americus, Georgia, which is, of course, 9 miles from Plains. So, and I'm giving my age here, but as a child, I knew that the President of the United States was a farmer whose home was 9 miles down the road. So that was kind of cool as a child, knowing that I just assumed that everybody had a president who lived down the street from them. Every country, every child had that kind of privilege, in your small mind, you think of those things. I had the privilege of meeting them both a couple of times over the years. Sometimes it would be a Habitat for Humanity build, or a cause that was near and dear to Mrs. Carter's heart. And I just found them to be so warm and inviting, and I just always felt like they put others ahead of themselves, which you rarely see in politics, and you rarely see that in politicians. And so it was always so refreshing, and of course I always felt like they were family because of that Sumter County connection there. But over the years, just seeing them hold hands everywhere they went. I remember at his 90th birthday party celebration, I covered that at the Carter Center, and I found it fascinating that the two of them walked down the stairs holding each other's hands, multiple stairs, a huge staircase, and neither one of them held onto a rail. They just held onto each other, walked down so gracefully, and I thought to myself, wow, I'd love to be able to be that in shape when I'm approaching 90. Again, he was turning 90 and she was 87. So that was just a good memory that I'll always have of them, and just the memories they shared on the stage that day as the celebration got underway, and the stories they told about each other. Just an endearing couple, and that's just something I'll never forget. And I almost forgot to tell you, Joy, the most important person who will be here, who's scheduled to be here, is Jimmy Carter himself. You may have mentioned this already in your coverage, but he, in hospice care at age 99, is still planning to be here. His wife of 77 years, it's almost like he wouldn't miss it for the world. So I know that is going to take some doing. I know it's going to be tough, and I know there have been a lot of plans that have gone into making that happen. So it will be, it'll be interesting to watch. It'll be heartwarming. We sure hope that he indeed is able to come. We know he will get a lot of care while he is here, saying goodbye to his bride of 77 years. Joy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's been really such a difficult year for the family. Both Carters, both Mr. and Mrs. Carter, entering hospice care earlier this year. But it was actually, it was Mr. Carter who entered hospice care first. For me personally, perhaps a bit surprising to see that things have unfolded the way that they have. Very somber. I think there's a lot of grief, a lot of sadness, but at the same time, 96 years is an amazing life to have led. So by all accounts, it's certainly about celebrating this life as well. Any other thoughts, Rebekka, before we let you go, because I know you're busy today?
Well, it's funny. I was just looking up Amy Carter. We hardly ever hear from her, and she is expected to give some remarks. Probably her most memorable time in front of a camera was when she was 14 years old and went on the David Letterman show, and they together called Mrs. Carter and told on Amy for having etched her name with some girlfriends who were spending the night at the White House. They etched her name in a windowsill. And so Mrs. Carter found out about that from David Letterman. Just a funny memory there. But also just thinking about her, she's led a very quiet life, as many of the Carters do. So it'll be neat to hear from her. She was the child of the White House. She was the only one young enough to still live with her parents when he was in office. So she has, as we said, she was very much in the public during his presidency, but then led a quiet life afterward. And so it'll be nice to see her and hear what she has to say about her lovely mom.
Absolutely, Rebekka. And I just have to add, as you were speaking about, having grown up in Americus, in Sumter County, and really just how down to earth the Carter family was, and how warm you experience them to be, and how they put others ahead of themselves. I have to just kind of give you a bit of credit, because I thought, well, that sounds a lot like Rebekka Schramm as well. So I wonder if that's some of the values of the community, and maybe the Carters helped to spread that. But your coverage has been amazing, Rebekka, and I know it means a lot to you, not just as a journalist, but as a human being.
Yes, and you know what? Everybody down there calls him Mr. Jimmy and her Miss Rosalynn. So that's just, that's what we do in the South. We call you Mr. or Miss, and then your first name. We don't necessarily use last names. But yeah, it's just one of those things, when you've lived that long and had that important of a life and have touched so many people, it is a time to celebrate. And our hearts, of course, go out to Mr. Carter and the whole family, because it won't be the same. Plains will never be the same. Sumter County will never be the same. But boy, what a mark they have left in that community and beyond.
Yes, beautiful life and beautiful contributions, and it's always hard to say goodbye. That is for sure. Well, thank you so much to our Rebekka Schramm, who's gotten me a little bit emotional here now today, but I so appreciate you sharing your perspective. And have a great day. I know you're going to cover some of the world's most important dignitaries today, so good luck with all of that. I know you've got to get back to it. Thank you again.